Welcome back to the program. A fire which broke out this morning at a lithium battery factory in South Korea has left 8 people injured. So far, authorities have recovered at least 22 bodies from the RSL plant in Hapseong City. Most of the deceased are believed to be foreign nationals. According to firefighters, the blaze started when a number of battery cells exploded inside a warehouse. More than 100 workers were believed to have been working at the site at the time of the fire, and some 24 were unaccounted for. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's office says that he had ordered authorities to mobilize all available personnel and equipment to focus on search and rescue operations. Lithium batteries, which are used in phones, laptops, and electric vehicles, have been known to explode or catch fire due to a phenomenon known as a thermal run, which can occur when they overheat or are punctured. Authorities issued a series of alerts advising the public to stay indoors and close their windows due to smoke from the blaze. And a quick check on the weather now. Locals and tourists have been sharing their experiences amid an extreme heat wave in Italy. Residents have been cooling off by drinking water, eating ice cream, or purchasing refreshments as temperatures are expected to climb over 39 degrees Celsius. A local tourist guide shared that he had been seeing visitors collapsing due to the hot weather, with some having to seek treatment in an ambulance. 8 cities in Italy have also issued heat warnings.
The older people, more than the 40 years old, they are feeling bad because they're feeling hygienic, they're feeling tired. So that's why I saw the Piazza Duomo. Lots of people are take treatment on the ambulance. The ambulance came and they give them treatment. So at the moment, is the weather very, very important to be careful. Summer we are starting is a very bad journey because of the temperature is very high. The last day, some people, some tourists are falling in the floor. I saw because the hot ocean and the temperature is at minimum 36 degrees Celsius. So that's why the tourist is feeling bad, and also we are the who are working outside, we're feeling bad. So at the moment we need to more drink water. We need our good treatment, good shadow place.
Yes, it's I'd say it's very hot. Good breeze, that helps. Got to wear a hat, obviously, but I love it. Little sweaty.
Meanwhile, in southern Iraq, many residents seeking refuge in cooling waters or are relying on ice cubes as the temperatures soared to 50 degrees Celsius. The country has been experiencing a severe heat wave since the 11th of June, which reached its highest point in the city of Basra, making it one of the top hottest cities in the world yet. Residents are also lamenting lack of electricity coupled with the extreme heat. Due to the high temperatures, the Iraqi Ministry of Environment has issued out various tips on how to prevent skin dehydration and sunburn. Authorities have also urged residents to wear light-colored and lightweight clothing and avoid direct exposure to the sun during peak hours. With more hot temperatures, Saudi health authorities say that at least 1,301 pilgrims have died during this year's Hajj season due to intense heat. This year's pilgrimage took place during a heat wave with temperatures at times exceeding 50 Celsius. According to officials, majority of the deceased walked long distances under direct sunlight without adequate shelter or comfort, including several elderly and chronically ill individuals. Officials indicated that 95 unauthorized patients were receiving medical care, adding that over 1.3 million medical services were rendered throughout the Hajj season. According to media outlet reports, 658 Egyptians had died during the Hajj season, while Indonesia has reported over 200 deaths of its nationals. Jordanian officials, on the other hand, said that 75 people had lost their lives. India gave a death toll of 98 people. Meanwhile, Tunisia, Pakistan, Malaysia, Iran, Senegal, Sudan, and Iraq's autonomous Kurdistan region all reported deaths among their pilgrims. Still in the Middle East, the death toll from devastating wildfires in southeastern Turkey has risen to at least 12. 78 people were also injured. the deadly blaze that ravaged several villages over the weekend. According to Turkish health authorities, the wildfires were fueled by strong winds, which engulfed the mountainous region of Diyarbakir. The scorching temperatures in Turkey, soaring up to 40 degrees Celsius across the country, also exacerbated the wildfire by causing rapid drying of forests and grasslands. While rescue teams have managed to partly control the fire, reports from local media outlets have highlighted the loss of hundreds of animals due to the blaze. And here in Africa, Zambia is on the front lines of the climate emergency, experiencing frequent droughts, floods, and heat waves as well. The country is currently in the grips of the driest agricultural season in more than 40 years. Crops have been wiped out, livestock have died, and poverty and food insecurity are deepening.
Around 9.8 million people in 84 of Zambia's 166 districts are affected, and 6.6 million people in the country need immediate humanitarian assistance. The climate emergency is not gender neutral, and the most vulnerable women and girls who have contributed the least to the crisis are the most impacted. Zambia is no exception.
Today we are at Hakunkula village in Monze, Southern Province. So this particular village is about 30 kilometers from the nearest health center. So we are conducting a health outreach activity today, supported by UNFPA towards the drought response that is currently ongoing across the country.
In the drought-affected provinces of Southern, Western, and Lusaka, acute malnutrition is high among pregnant and breastfeeding women. It's expected to worsen as the lean season begins next month. When food is scarce, women often eat last and least, sacrificing their own needs to feed their children. This situation poses an incredible risk to the health of mothers and their children in a country that already has one of the highest rates of malnutrition and stunting in sub-Saharan Africa.
In times of a crisis and in times of a drought like this, the health of women and girls, especially sexual and reproductive health, is not prioritized. Women may not prioritize going to the health facility in terms of a crisis of a drought like this, but instead would prioritize looking for food. So this has the possibility of impacting their health. So UNFPA is supporting Ministry of Health to conduct the mobile clinics, the health outreach activities, so that they can provide these services to women and girls, especially in this situation.
Risks of gender-based violence, sexual exploitation and abuse have all increased. Families are also resorting to desperate measures as they struggle to put food on the table. Girls are reported to be dropping out of school and being forcibly married. Zambia has some of the world's highest rates of children marriage, with close to a third of Zambian girls married off before the age of 18.
They don't have food. As a result, teenagers, they end up in they become vulnerable. So they engage themselves in sexual activities. So when we talk about HIV, even HIV rate, it's quite high in adolescents because they engage themselves to these fishermen because they want help, they are vulnerable.
UNFPA is appealing for $5.4 million to support this work. Immediate flexible funding is urgently needed to meet the needs of the most vulnerable women and girls.
Monze has about 43 health facilities. So in all those health facilities, currently UNFPA is providing support for mobile clinics such as this to be undertaken at least once every month for the coming 3 months. So this is where the situation comes in, where we need more support, we need more resources to be able to ensure that there's continuity of these mobile clinics across the next coming months. So we really need to ensure that we provide this necessary support. And as you can see from the outcome of the events here, there's really a need for these services.
UNFPA is also supporting 60 Safe Motherhood Action Group volunteers to provide information on safe motherhood to families, as well as 2 national toll-free lines that provide information on maternal health and gender-based violence services.
And over in Rwanda, where 1 person has died and dozen others injured during a crash at an election rally for Rwanda's President Paul Kagame, officials say the crash happened on Sunday in Rubavu district, where 37 people were injured, 4 of whom were hospitalized with serious injuries. The Ministry of Local Government has apologized to the deceased family, adding that a medical team on site did everything possible. Campaigning for July's general election began on Saturday, with Mr. Kagame holding 2 rallies in northern Rwanda over the weekend. Our foreign affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani, gives us an update on the situation in Kigali.
About the atmosphere for the elections, pretty calm still, in Kigali, as well as in other parts of the country. No sudden events that we've heard. The campaigns, I believe, are going as scheduled. President Kagame has a pretty, packed schedule, and he seems to be the one who has most of the support, most of the, people look to him, to make this election and to win eventually. People seem to like him a lot. Lots of people that we spoke to at the campaign in Musanze were very excited about him staying on in office. They didn't mind that he had been there since 2000. They actually wanted him to stay on for even longer. So I think, the question really is if Rwandans want another leader. They seem to love President Paul Kagame a lot. A lot of them refer to the genocide because many people fled from their homes. Parents, most children were born outside of Rwanda, in the DRC, in other countries. They finally got a chance to return to Rwanda after the genocide, so they really thank him for that. They also look at the developments in the country. He's sort of helped people develop this patriotic spirit, the love for Rwanda, and I think that that's what people are really grateful for. It doesn't seem like they want, another leader to come and, continue or even take over what he's already started.
Well, there's more from our foreign affairs correspondent, Amarachi Ubani in Kigali, who reports that the campaign season did kick off with President Kagame, who incidentally is candidate of the Rwanda Patriotic Front, the PR. This weekend, he held his first campaign in Musanze, the country's northern district.
The ride to Musanze in Rwanda's northern district is uneventful, as we're accompanied by hilly scenes and sparse populations of people scattered along the 2.5-hour route. But at the University of Rwanda, the Sogo campus, venue for the FPR campaign, a massive crowd of over 350,000 people awaits the arrival of the presidential candidate, President Paul Kagame, who has ruled Rwanda since 2000. Even though the people are here for their candidate, it takes some convincing to get them to speak with the camera.
When you look just 20 years ago, where this nation was, the kind of opportunities that were available to us, and what is available right now, I give thanks to what His Excellency has done. And so for me, this is an opportunity to celebrate him.
We are all Rwandans in one country. We thank God for him. We pray for his long life. We pray a lot, morning, lunch, evening. We want Kagame forever.
The atmosphere changes when President Kagame enters the campaign grounds, surrounded by almost a dozen security operatives. The crowds go wild as he goes around greeting supporters. When he finally takes the stage, he addresses the people in Rwanda language, making no promises but boosting their morale. He reminds them that the real power lies in their hands. It's the people who determine what democracy means to them, he says. and no one else. He also says the West makes so much noise about democracy, but no one decides for them, so Rwandans should be allowed to decide for themselves. He tells them the worst is behind them, referring to the genocide. Looking ahead, he says, it's time for development. Then he encourages them to show their love by coming out to vote.
Mbashimire rero kano n'ibindi murakoze cyane cyane cyane.
Kapano wacu turabashimiye cyane ku butumwa muduhaye byongera kudushimangirira ko twahisemo neza.
Shortly after he finishes his speech, the campaign is over, but Rwandans are not eager to leave the campaign grounds.
From Zanzi, a district in the northern part of Rwanda, Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
We're still in Rwanda. In the meantime, critics of President Kagame say he has not given the opposition fair ground to contest elections. A spokesperson for the FPR, Natalie Myapenka, counters this claim, however, insisting there's no clear opposition against President Kagame, whom the country's youthful population love and support as much.
Every time they talk about opposition, it's important for you to go and ask, what is their platform? What would people be voting for? A lot of the times you find that it's based on politics around tribe and ethnic groups, things that young people, specifically who are under 30, don't know anything about. So we don't want to go backwards, we want to go frontwards. There are other candidates, specifically in this election. You have to go and ask them what their platform is. I can only speak about our platform and say that young people, even myself who's young, we are interested in what the president and the party will do for us, and we are the people to do it. So I think part of what I always say, particularly for those who are outside of Rwanda, is in Rwanda we are not just voters, we are also responsible for putting together what we said we are going to do for Rwandans. We are part of that, and I think getting to work is the main message.
And still ahead on the program. Finnish shipwreck with the image of mythological creature found in northwestern Russia. Details after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Sierra Leone's parliament has approved a law banning child marriage in a development lauded by activists as a major win for children's rights. The law criminalizes marrying girls under 18 years of age. It also describes and prescribes jail terms of up to 15 years for offenders. According to UNICEF, 1/3 of all girls are married before their 18th birthday in the West African country. The country is home to 800,000 child brides, 400,000 of whom were married before the age of 15. Often due to poverty, many girls in Sierra Leone fail to stay in school. They are then married off by their families in a bid to improve their financial situations or pay off debt. And here in Nigeria, have you ever heard of the age-old tradition called Fattening Room, which is associated with the Efik people of Cross River State in south Nigeria? What if I told you that the age-long practice can be traced to the Hebrew culture? Our correspondent Kelly Egiga visited Calabar and reports from the city.
This is Ikwamma Edet Ekpenyong, and it's her big day as the wait is almost over. Minutes by minute, the traditional makeup artist with her magic fingers spearheads the transformative process of the maiden and bride-to-be. In this part of the world, traditional rulers are pivotal to such engagement, and so we visit the palace of the village head of Ikodekaidem in Calabar Municipality, His Royal Highness Reverend Dr. Efiomita Eyo Efiom Okogo. The walls of the palace are embellished with historical portraits like this one, which has names and pictures of old professionals with roots from the ancient city of Calabar. Our camera lens also captures a few books on the table, including a Bible in a folk language, which according to the monarch is the first Nigerian language the Bible was translated into. My first question to the monarch is to give our viewers a historical significance of the age-long tradition of fattening room.
The word fattening room does not exist in a culture. Nkugo is the proper name. It is the colonizers, the Europeans, the English, who gave that fattening room because of what they saw. A maiden who is just been brought out of Nkugo to be presented to the public. The Nkugo is specific in the sense that we would think that that word Nkugo is totally a folk language. It's not. It's a Hebrew word, but we have turned it into a folk language to mean Nkugo. But the Hebrew word that is turned actually means to seclude. For a Hebrew child, a male child, to be known as an Israelite, that child must be circumcised. For the women, circumcision was necessary, but it was not with the same reason that the male child was circumcised. So that culture of Nkugo is to seclude a female child for a period of time. And there are two periods that can be done in that girl's life. The first is done when she's about maybe 3 years old. Then the next one is when she begins her menstrual cycle.
And with the practice gradually waning down, there is a message for parents, leaders, and elders.
That culture cannot be eliminated. It has been played down, but here in this our village, we've said that it has to come back as an academy where a female child would be educated in the aspect of being a mother and a homemaker, a homekeeper.
And then comes the bride. Thereafter, Princess Chief Ukpa Duke, a former broadcaster with the Nigerian Television Authority, explains the significance of the costume and makeup.
She's wearing the crown here, a tenga, we call it a tenga.
Okay.
This is long because she's the first daughter. We call it adiara in our language. So it has to be long. Otherwise, if she's to do one second daughter, it will be half here. But as long as this, she's adiara in the family, first daughter. And we call this a paku. We call this bead anarubok. We call this itaubok. And then she has esang, staff. She cannot dance without her staff. That's the significance. When she dances, she will throw and put a lot of fancy. She throws it, so always goes with her staff. And this is what I was talking about. Achai, you can see this part is exposed. You know, any person can look at it. But after today, no more. Because she's a married woman. Everything is for her husband. We don't go there. This is umparitam. You know, this goes with the leg.
She also reveals that women have an essential role to play in the home as well as the society.
We are good in keeping our house clean and sweet and maintaining peace within our domain. Not so quarrelsome, because if you are quarrelsome, your husband will drive you away. So we maintain peace. That's what our women do down here. Especially food. We cook very, very well. Our food are very delicious.
And despite the risk of heart disease, diabetes and other well-known health problems connected to obesity, being fat or perhaps chubby remains a symbol of status and power among the people of Efik Kingdom. Kelly Egiga, Channels Television News.
Well, still in Nigeria, the Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, has served a 48-hour notice to property owners whose buildings are blocking the drainage paths. Mr. Wahab made this known during an inspection of mainland and Lagos Island canals. He says after the 48-hour notice, another 14 days notice will be issued before enforcement is carried out. The Commissioner emphasized that government will stop at nothing to reclaim all drainage setbacks. This is coming as the cholera outbreak in the state is still ravaging and the numbers are now well over 500.
Illegal structures blocking water channels are a major headache for the Lagos State government. And the cholera situation creating a new health pandemic in some parts of the state, there's no better time than now to remove them. The Lagos State Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, and his team are out for an inspection exercise of these and other contraventions. Their first stop is Ketu Ikosi, which revealed its first major issue. The supporting iron under the culvert has been vandalized, leading to the collapse of water channel. Ago Palace Way, Okota, is the next location visited, where some property owners have completely disregarded the building guidelines, blocking the water path and canal. Many seem to have ignored several warnings and stop work orders.
People cannot do their own private shows, start doing it here. It's not proper. Why did we give all the other time that they are giving us setback? Why are we coming here? It's not fair. People should do what is right.
At System 6 water channel servicing Okota and its environs, some structures are dangerously close to the canal, which poses danger to those occupying the buildings. Community leaders in the area commend government's proactive steps in safeguarding life and property. Nevertheless, they appeal for notice before demolition.
If somebody maybe gone away from what he's supposed to do, I cannot say that law will not take its effect. That is what I will say. But everything, let pre-warning be given, time and the normal time to say, remove this, do this, from so time to so time. So if they have enough information, things will not go bad.
The team moves to the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, the Kwado area of Shangotedo, a waterlogged area. Driving down the road is a difficult task for vehicle owners as illegal structures within the area have blocked System 63. The owners have 14 days to move.
We had a petition sent into the state government about some individuals, unscrupulous individuals, that are taking the laws into their hands, block water paths, blocked canals. They will serve them the 14 days notice to remove the nuisance. And once that elapses, the law will take its course. The law, look, be mindful, we're in the rainy season. And I tell people climate change is real.
A general primary channel at Chevron Drive was also checked to ascertain the level of ongoing dredging. At Ilabere Collector, Ikoyi, some property owners have also encroached on the drainage alignment.
The government is fixing a major infrastructure around this whole place. And if these collectors are not properly handled, we'll end up destroying that infrastructure in no time at all. So we've noticed some of the buildings have constricted our collectors, and we have to tell them to remove those structures.
He appeals to residents to keep their environments clean to reduce the spread of cholera outbreak.
And for our citizens, let us take personal responsibility for our hygiene. Like growing up, they'll tell you in Yoruba, and his cleanliness takes care of all these little elements. You go to the toilet, clean your hands, clean your food. They are so small, but they are very impactful.
These precautions seem even more urgent as rainy season continues, but the state government says it remains absolute to ensure Lagos metropolis is free of flooding and any life-threatening health situation.
And finally on the program, a Finnish shipwreck has been found in northwestern Russia. The shipwreck was discovered by An expedition team of an underwater research center at a depth of 34 meters near Connevet's Island in Lake Ladoga. Divers explored the wreck and sent treasures they found to the surface, where a research team later studied the artifacts. One of these finds was a rare refractory brick produced in the Swedish Höganäs hundreds of years ago. According to the Underwater Research Center, the ship may have sunk due to an explosion. Images on the side of the ship suggested that it belonged to pirates. The exploration of the sunken ship is expected to continue as specialists are eager to find out the secrets the wreck holds. And from those underwater secrets, we end the world today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Jackie Rogers.